Parts A, B, and C of problem 7 have to do with interpreting the production possibilities curve. Take a look at figure 1.4 on page 11 in your textbook. First of all, it tells you exactly how to interpret this graph. It tells you exactly how to do this. And second of all, it is using this very graph. All you have to do is go look at figure 1.4 and write down what it says, and you've got items A, B, and C in this problem. For the other two, you're going to need to graph this original production possibilities curve and also two others. So start by graphing the initial production possibilities curve. Go back to the graphing video that I sent you in the individual forum on the very first day of class. That will tell you how to graph. You're going to need a table of values because that's always what graphs in Excel are based on. Create your table of values by looking at what you have here. We see that if we put all of our resources into trucks, we can produce 5 trucks and 0 tanks. And that's found right along the vertical axis in this graph on page 11. And if we put all of our resources into tanks, we can produce 5 tanks and 0 trucks, and that's found right along the horizontal axis in this graph on page 11. And then we have 2 other points on that production possibilities curve, B and C. You're going to put those values that relate to B and C into your table, and boom, you're going to have a production possibilities curve. As you're working through this, take note. This is the exact same table of values that you worked with in problem 2. It's really very simple. So for part D of this, it says show the change that would occur if the population increased dramatically. Increased dramatically is not a specific value. What I want you to do is make up some values to show me what the new production possibilities curve would look like. My suggestion is that you take your initial table of values and simply increase all the values by some number, 2, 5, whatever. For part E, same thing. Show the change that would occur with a huge natural disaster that destroyed vast amounts of infrastructure. If you destroyed the infrastructure, I imagine production would be less. So decrease all your values. Create a new table of values that shows lower production. And you're going to put these 2 curves into this graph also. To get all 3 curves into the same graph, look at the video that I sent you on day 1 of the class and look at the section on supply and demand curves. Supply and demand curves always rely on at least 2 curves in every graph, so it'll show you how to add a second and a third curve to your graph.